Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to Mornings with Autonomy. If this is your first time here, welcome to the family. I'm so glad you are spending your mornings with me. This entire month of January, we've been talking about living with intention and not just existing, not just going through the motions, but actually being deliberate about how we show up in our lives. And today, we are diving into something that I believe would be a complete shift on how you approach, and not just January, but the whole and entire 2026. And we're talking about little things, big win. So, if you recall, throughout this month, we've been speaking about living with intention, right? We started with why you need to focus your effort, and then we moved to how you need to focus your effort. And last week, we considered work, environment, and relationship. This week, we are going to be talking about little things, big win. Now, before you think, oh, here we go again with another motivational message about small steps, stay with me. Because what I'm about to share with you is not just a feel good advice, it is practical, it's actionable, and honestly, it's how life works. I didn't realize on time. Anybody who knows me personally will know I am a big planner, always planning for the big things, and that's just trying to scale up as fast as possible. So I didn't really realize these things on time. Let me tell you something that happened just last week. So I was in my studio, here in Jos and producing for a client. And I had this client session that was running way over time. Like, this is something we had recorded a few months ago, and we just kept that. It was becoming frustrating because we just kept hitting the same issues. But instead of pushing through like I normally would, I did something different. I took literally 30 seconds to step back, take a breath, and organize my workspace, closed unnecessary tabs, cleared some cables, and just reset my mind. When I went back to my laptop, I had the problem immediately and fixed it in less than 2 minutes. And I had to reach out and I was like, this is what I noticed. And when I checked what the problem was, you'll be surprised that the problem was in milliseconds. It wasn't even up to a second. So one thing with music is when you're recording, you have a lot to do with time, metronomes, and all that. What was causing the issue was just milliseconds of slight misalignment, right? And that was something we were able to figure out. And, well, it completely changed the game. That was a massive win for me from such a tiny action. And that's what we are going to be unpacking today. So here, what I want you to do right now is, if you are driving, keep driving safely. If you're working out, keep moving. But if you can, grab a notepad or open your note app, because by the end of this episode, we are going to be having one clear action you can take today that will start changing your life. Are you ready? Let's dive in. You know what's interesting? We live in a world that is obsessed with transformation. We want the big breakthroughs, the major promotions, the dramatic weight loss, the complete life overhaul, just that change of environment where you get to travel to wherever in the world, Kuala Lumpur, Canada, or just somewhere, and then change your life completely. And there's nothing wrong with having big goals. But here's what nobody tells you. The quality of your life isn't actually determined by those big moments. It is determined by what you do on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody's watching. Let me explain what I mean. There is this concept called compound effect. I'm sure you must have heard it from a lot of motivational videos. It's pretty simple but ridiculously powerful. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 1% better. You end up 37 times better. 37 times. But here's the flip side, and this is the scary part. If you get 1% worse every day, by the end of the year, you will decline to nearly zero. Trust me. Think about that for a second. 1%, that's barely noticeable in a moment, but over time, it's everything. So, why do we overlook these little things? I think there are a few reasons. Firstly, they can seem insignificant in the moment. Drinking a glass of water right now doesn't make you feel instantly healthier. Making your bed doesn't transform your life before breakfast. So we skip it. We think this one time doesn't matter if I skip it. Secondly, we are conditioned to chase big wins. I can almost promise you, by default, based on trends and what we listen to, all that goes on, that's especially in the social media space, we are conditioned to chase big wins. We see the highlight reels on social media and before and after photos, the promotion announcements, the vacation pictures. We don't see the daily habits that created that result. That's something we consistently begin to realize. That's for those who have realized it. And third, we live in an instant gratification culture. We want results now. The idea of doing something small today that might pay off in the next 6 months, that doesn't feel exciting enough. But let me give you a real life illustration. Think about two people. Person A, that's the first person, drinks 8 glasses of water every single day. And then the second person drinks water whenever they remember, which is maybe twice in a week. In one day, there's barely any difference between them. In 1 week, still not much. But in 6 months, 1 year, the first person has better skin, more energy, better digestion, clearer thinking. The second person is dehydrated, tired, and wondering why they always feel sluggish. Same thing with making your bed. 1 day of making your bed versus not making it doesn't matter. But 365 days of coming home to either an orderly space or a chaotic one, that shapes how you feel about your life. Here is the truth. Little things aren't little at all. They are building blocks for everything. So the question becomes, which little things should we actually pay attention to? Is it every single detail we have to pay attention to? Now, in this next segment, the little things that create big wins are what we are going to be considering. Not all small actions are created equal. Some have a disproportionate impact on your life. So I want to walk you through 5 categories of little things that create massive win. In our first category, we have your morning rituals. Listen, your morning sets the tone for your entire day, believe me. You've heard that before, but do you actually believe it? Because if you did, you would protect your mornings like your life depends on it. And you will stop waking up in a reactive state where you just jump up from the bed and maybe begin to press your phones, or you're running late and then just have this chaotic morning. So here is a few morning things that could change everything. First, wake up at a consistent time. I'm talking about even on weekends. I know you want to have those slow mornings on Saturdays, but here's what happens when you keep a consistent wake up time. Your body clock regulates. You sleep better at night, and you create a foundation of discipline that spills into everything else. Secondly, keep your first 30 minutes screen free. No phones, no emails, no social media. Give yourself time to actually think before the world starts demanding your attention. Give yourself time to pray. Give yourself time to meditate. This protects your mental space and helps you live proactively instead of reactively. Thirdly, hydrate before you take anything. Hydrate. Flush your system. Just 1 glass of water before your tea time or your coffee time. That's it. Your body has been fasting all night. Give it what it actually needs first. Fourthly, Spend just 5 minutes setting an intention for the day, not a massive to-do list, because I think I fall prey to that sometimes. I write like 15 things I want to do before 12. No, but even if it's just that one thing you need to achieve, if it's a place you need to go to, if it's something you need to purchase, if it's somebody you have to reach out to, I mean, there are these critical calls that you need to make, because just clarity on what actually matters for the day. Basically, just ask yourself, what is this one thing I will do that will make my day feel successful? These are small, they take minimal time, but they create a completely different day. Also, we'll be considering the second category, which is your daily interactions. Your relationships are your biggest predictors of your happiness. Not just your bank account, not your job title, your relationships. And your relationships are built in little moments. Say thank you genuinely, not just as formality. Actually look at people and let them know that you appreciate them. This builds your gratitude muscle and strengthens every relationship you have. Practice active listening without interrupting. I know this is very difficult for some of us. I know we all want to jump in with our own stories, our solutions, but just listen. Listen fully. It makes people feel valued in a way that nothing else can. Respond instead of reacting. When something frustrates you, pause for 3 seconds before you speak. 3 seconds. That's the rule. That's it. The time rule. That's the difference between damaging a relationship and deepening it. Just 3 seconds. And do one kind gesture daily. Send out a thoughtful text. Hold the door. Compliment someone genuinely. These things cost nothing and compound into a generous, beautiful life. In our third category, your physical environment. Your environment influences your mental state even more than you realize. I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday that came around, and just before we were recording, I told him how that my environment and the places where I grew up in affected my mood of deploying things. So I'd written a song and he was to play an instrument on the song, and he was like, when you plan to release the song? And I said, maybe somewhere around September, October. This is like 8-9 months after. And he was like, why the delay? This song already sounds complete. And I told him, well, I'm trying to come out from that environment I grew up with, because what we saw and were influenced by is some people get to record and then now leave it for months, tweaking and trying to make it perfect, and then maybe till like after 5-6 months before the release. And these same producers, these same people, when they're working for clients, maybe remotely on Fiverr or somewhere, will be asked to make submission of the songs, mixed and mastered in 3 days, and they will deliver. So what takes 6-9 months can be done in 3 days by these same people, right? So that's how much your environment can affect. And I'm trying to come out from that, because there are some goals that we are beginning to postpone that could happen this week. Yes, if you say you're going to complete that thing this week, you are going to complete it. If you say it's going to take you 30 days, it will take you 30 days. If you say it's going to take you 3 hours, it's going to take you 3 hours. But let's go back to our environment, our physical environment now. That's my focus. Make your bed every morning. It is your first big win for the day. And when you come home at night, you return to an order instead of chaos. It is a small signal to yourself that you have your life together. Clear your workspace before the day ends. You'll start tomorrow with clarity instead of clutter. So that's something I think it's also habitual, where we prefer to do our cleanups and arrangements in the morning when we come to work. But especially if you don't have hired cleaners around your space. It will be good to clear up your space, shut down everything just before you leave for work. Okay? So put things back where they need to be, fold the cables like obviously I'm speaking because I'm in the studio, so I know it's easier to just drop your keys anywhere, but how much time do you need to waste searching for things? These 2 seconds of putting things away will save you minutes and hours of frustration. So the fourth category we're going to be looking at is personal growth micro habits. Please, if you haven't been taking this serious for the past years, begin to take it serious. You don't transform overnight. I'm sure you know this by now. You transform through tiny, consistent inputs. Read 10 pages a day, not 50 pages when you feel like it. 10 pages every single day and consistently. That's 18 books in a year. 18 solid books in a year. When was the last time you read 18 books in a year? Even as a student, when was the last time you read 18 books in a year? Learn one new thing in a day. A word, a concept, a skill, just one thing. Imagine how much you would know a year from now. 5 minutes reflection before bed. Ask yourself 2 questions. What went well today? What could I improve on tomorrow? This builds self-awareness faster than anything else. And let me tell you something. The more you keep improving daily, so you go back and you'll be like, okay, I think I can improve on my skincare routine. I think I can improve on this aspect of me. I think I can improve on my speech. Now, you might not necessarily recognize significant change, but I'm telling you, even before the first quarter ends, people, this is one thing. When you are with yourself, there is not so much you can recognize, but people who haven't seen you or people seeing you from afar off will begin to see those differences. People will begin to see those differences. Finally, on these categories is your financial discipline. Wealth isn't built through one big investment. Well, many of us think that, but it is built through small, consistent choices. Track every of your expense, even the small ones, even that coffee, because those small purchases is what reveals your spending pattern and help you make conscious choices instead of unconscious one. Save a fixed amount first before you spend anything. Pay yourself first. I know this is something we hear and we neglect. You'll be like, am I not still the one using the money to buy things for myself? No, but pay yourself first in savings, even if it's small, even if it's just 5% of your income. The habit matters more than the amount right now. And use the 24-hour rule before buying anything non-essential. If you still want it tomorrow, fine, but most times that impulse just passes on. I know you might be thinking, Ochonimi, this is a lot. And you are right, it is a lot, because here's the thing, you are not supposed to do all at once. Which brings me to the most important part of today's conversation: how to make little habits stick. Okay, so we're rounding up now. How to make little habits stick. Knowing what to do is easy. Actually doing it, that's where most people fail. So let me give you the strategy for turning awareness into actions. Number 1, start ridiculously small. I mean, embarrassingly small. Don't commit to reading 30 minutes a day. Commit to 1 page. Don't commit to working out for 1 hour. Commit to just even showing up in your gym clothes. Yeah, you can start. You can always do more, but if you start too big, you will quit when life gets too busy. Have you noticed? You've been able to start some things. In fact, beginning of the year when the holiday was still in between, there were some things you were able to do. And now life has become so busy and you're beginning to lay off those things. Why? Because you started it with so huge amount of time allocated to it, and now that time is no longer available because you didn't learn it as a micro habit. Okay, number 2, stack your habits. This is a game changer. Attach a new tiny habit to something you already do every day, something you do consistently. The formula is simple. After I do, that's the current habit, I will do the little tiny habit. For instance, after I pour my morning tea or my morning coffee, I'll write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Or after I brush my teeth at night, and I'll encourage you to start doing so if you haven't, I will set out tomorrow's clothes. You are not relying on willpower or motivation. You're just using existing routines as trigger. Number 3, track visibly. Get a calendar or use an app. I know I spoke about energy management the last time, right? But now get a calendar, use an app. Every day you want to do little things. Mark as an X. Don't break the chain. There is something powerful about seeing that visual progress. It motivates you in a way that nothing else can, right? Ticking all the check boxes when you're done. And then finally on this aspect, this sounds silly, but it works. When you do little things, acknowledge it. Say it loud. Yes, I did it. Fist pump, smile, whatever you need to do. Your brain needs to associate this habit with positive feelings. Let me just add this. We can also work with we can have an if-then plan. And what does it mean? Life will get in the way. You will wake up late. You will have crisis. You will forget. Plan for it now. So you can be like, if I wake up late, then I'll still do 2 minutes of my gratitude practice, even if I skip everything else. You can say, if I'm traveling, then I'll read my 10 pages on the plane. Remove the decision making in the moment. You already decide what you would do when obstacles show up. And this is something you go out in life not even knowing what to expect, and hurdles will come. But then begin to maximize times where it feels like your time is being wasted. I remember we just thank God for the drop of queues in banks. But those times when I go to the bank or I am on transit, on very long transit of 1-2 hours, most times I would stay reading or listening to a podcast, maybe Mornings with Ojonimi on my way, or just learning something new. I remembered while I was still studying, that's actively in school and all, I would just go on the web or maybe GPT app and then just read something new on my transit, or I could just be reviewing a journal that's completely outside academics. I just was learning something new during those times that looked like wasted time. Alright, beautiful people, let's bring it home because our time is fast spent. Here's what we covered today. Little things compound into big wins. The quality of your life is determined by the daily micro decisions. So start with one thing, make it stick, and then add another. Remember, the miracle isn't in the big dramatic change. The magic is in showing up for yourself in small ways day after day. So here's my encouragement to you as you step into the rest of the day and into the rest of the week. Be faithful to the little things. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for the perfect plan. Just start today, right now. This is Ojonimi reminding you to live with intention, one little choice at a time. Thank you for spending your mornings with me. We'll see in the next episode. Until then, make those little wins count.